What is going on, everybody? Sorry for the delay. A lot of working on a lot of stuff. Did want to remind everybody, check out our packages. I start off by talking about them every day, but I really think that we have like one of the most unique offerings in all the industry. All of Saber Sims, everything, depending on which size package you want. All of the Pay Dirt DFS, all their content, which is unbelievably cool, as well as all of my content, all of Sheets' projections, Goldie's projections, which have been awesome, and Brandon Cruz, Rody we've got a lot of things that we're adding on, and it's just a little less than $1 a month, extra, $1 a day extra for our package versus the SaberSim package. So I do think we're worth taking a look at. I hope you guys will take a look when you get a chance. And with that said, we're going to jump right into it. And let's see, I've got a very different build than I did a minute ago. All right, I'm going to start off on FanDuel today. Good night last night, obviously. I didn't play on FanDuel, but I played on DraftKings, finished second in the big one, and that was nice. Hopefully we can keep this momentum going here. So, all right, let's get into it. I'm going to look back at where we're at here. All right. So again, I'm going to change my exposures. I've been playing around with the Sims quite a bit, but just going through, I talked about what I wanted to do earlier. I am on FanDuel going to be pretty much mostly Ray and Scooble. I feel like this ownership is too low though on the Framber Valdez, and I think I want to get a little bit more exposure than I'm currently getting. So let's set him up a little bit higher. And Max Fried is the other one that I have a little bit of interest in. Yamamoto, I think you can make definitely a case for him here. It's just a little bit tougher in Atlanta, pretty decent hitting weather. I'm going to take a quick look at the updated weather because, like I said, I was scrambling a little bit with a few other things and ran a lot of these things earlier today. Let's just take a quick look. And yeah, we just have both Boston and Atlanta. There's just some risk of something, but overall, I think that everything's going to play, knock on wood. And fortunately, Washington, Cincinnati's not on this slate, so we didn't have to deal with that. But again, I'm going to rebuild these in a little bit, but this is what I'm getting to right now. In terms of stack exposure types, this is not my favorite thing to see. I'd like to have the majority be all four-mans, and I don't know why. I added some tweaks, but not this many. I think I'm going to make this number a little bit smaller. Oops. Give myself a little bit more. And I do want to keep the stack integrity up here. So we're going to make sure we have at least the majority of everything for four-mans. And I'm just saying the minimum exposure. So obviously I'm going to be getting more than this. And then the 4-4, we want to try to get to 10. So you really do want to play. Occasionally the 3-3-2 I'm good with in general, but I want to get the four-mans for the most part, at least with one. I don't mind 4-2-1-1s. I don't mind. Actually, you know what? Let me just jump to that real quick. Let me make sure I'm not. I'll even go 4-1-1-1 sometimes. I just want to make sure we have enough exposure to the four-mans that we don't end up so strange. All right, so that's one other thing I wanted to change. And then we look at the actual stacks of what we've got. Now, I wonder if the four-man stack. So the Dodgers, Giants, Cubs, as I talked about earlier, and then it's sort of spread out after that. But in terms of all stacks, I have the Dodgers and Cubs obviously well ahead of everybody else. I feel pretty good about that. I also really like the Baltimore and New York. When I rerun, I want to make sure I'm getting enough exposure to that. Hey, we can play Judge. We don't get to play Judge and Ohtani. They've been on different slates a lot lately, so we can play Judge and Ohtani and try and see if you can cram a Dodger and Yankee stack into your build to see if it works. But the rest of it looks pretty good to me. I'm going to rerun it and it's going to give me some different stuff. But while I'm doing that, let's rebuild. And then I'm going to jump over to DraftKings to talk about that. Any questions or thoughts, feel free to weigh them in. And appreciate you guys being here. I'll talk NBA today on this, TJ. But let's not do the thing where we talk about every single player. I mean, I guess for Showdown we can, but that's the only thing I get. I don't want to get sidetracked because when we do shows sometimes and people are saying, you're throwing out like 15 different guys per game. Like, no, what about this guy? What about this guy? It just gets to be like, it's not good content and it doesn't really give you any idea of what I'm doing. Okay. So just wanted to make sure I get the guys who are out of my lineups. I'm going to rebuild in a second, but here is where I'm at currently. And then I'll talk a little NBA. All right, let's get over to it. All right. Again, Skubal, my favorite today. Robbie Ray, second, followed by Valdez. I actually really like Brian Wu, and he's not getting a lot of love, and I'm kind of confused at why. I actually think I want to go a little higher on Wu. I thought putting a minimum of 15, I'd get to a little bit more of that. Yeah, of course, Buddy Hield's hit or miss. We have no idea what's going to happen there. Where did SaberSim end up on this projection? Oh, okay, I'll go up a little bit. We have the 4K Gunnar Hogland. I do think that it's very viable today. I also think that Fried is viable today and is not getting that much love. So I want to go a little bit more spread out with my pitching. I actually feel similarly about Joe Ryan today, just because the matchup is tough, although that team keeps having these monster strikeout games. And, we've gotten away with it. Hey, I had Barrios against them yesterday was my pitcher. And when we won or finished second in the perfect game. And then the Yamamoto one is probably too low as well. That's another one I think we should be in double digits around. In terms of the team stacks, I'm getting to mostly Dodgers, Cubs, as I was saying before. I have a little more Toronto over here. And I'd like to get to more of a couple other teams, the Yankees being one of them. And I don't know why we don't have that much exposure. We'll just bump it up a little bit. And the Orioles are the other one. Baltimore, I feel like is going to find their stride hitting, and I want to be ahead on that, so I do have them in there. But I like the Yankees as well, and maybe I can make this number even a little bit higher. There's a lot of lineups that I'm playing, and again, I would like to get my stack exposure to mostly 5-mans, which it is. That feels okay to me. And again, I'm going to be late swapping, so a lot of things are going to change. Any interest in Seattle today? Certainly understand the reasoning for it. I thought about them, but there's so many stacks that I like better. So I have Seattle. Where do I have them? I've got them 9th on my list of stacks today. So yes, viable, but it's 12 games, not exactly a high-powered offense. And the one thing about the Cubs that worries me a little bit is the opener for Priester for Milwaukee. It's that with the opener, it just always makes it a little bit worse. So maybe I'd like to get a little bit less of the Cubs. I'm okay with the Seattle idea, but I'm not like going out of my way to try and play it. You can see I put no exposure on it whatsoever. There's a lot of good options today, and I just feel like I'm pretty heavily invested in the other ones. But I like the question, and if you want to do it, I certainly wouldn't talk you out of it. I'm going to rebuild and sort of see where we're at over here. Then we'll jump back over to FanDuel, and then we'll talk a little NBA, and I can build my showdown. My NBA stuff has been hot, guys. Like, gotta say, like, I called Vanderbilt game the other night. I had Westbrook and Norman Powell last night. How about the Norman? I mean, Norman Powell had a great second half. He didn't look like he was going to get there at halftime, but that third quarter alone, he put up enough points to get there. So the Norman Powell Westbrook combination was most of my lineups, and that obviously did well for me, almost really well, but not quite well enough. Yeah, I think the basketball stuff has been good, and for what it's worth, this is a tough one tonight in terms of what I think is going to happen. I see a major problem with what Golden State faces, but I feel like this is the one they win. If they don't win this one, I think they might just have I don't know. I'm a little worried about them if they were to go to Game 7. I loved the Rockets. I picked the Rockets in blowouts in Games 2 and 5, and they did blow them out. Tonight, I think that Golden State wins, but if you're going to ask me how, I'm looking at the games, and it does appear to me that Golden State is I don't want to say the inferior team. They have the better players, but they're the worst overall team, if that makes any sense. That's where I'm at with that. But we'll get into basketball in just a minute. I'm just going to finish this up real quick. I'm so used to these 3:35 and 3:45 start times. The 4:05 is just, so nice to have on a Friday. I keep thinking I have less time than I actually do, but we got plenty of time. Guys, reminder to like and subscribe and all that stuff. Also, we have the best packages going out there, in my opinion, in the industry. I hope you guys will take a look at them. We also are allowing the trials again, even for multiple, uses, because we have changed our offering. We are rebuilding the site, but for where we're at right now, yeah, we've got all the information on the current site. It's just a matter of making it look prettier, which I know doesn't matter that much to the user. You want the content. I did a video with James McCool last week. Check that one out to learn a little bit more about the pay dirt tools. I think it's an awesome add-on to our company, and hopefully you guys are taking advantage of it. I know we have some users that are really taking advantage of it. So I hope that it includes you, whoever you are. All right, so this is a little bit better. I'd still like to maybe I'll do it in my hand build, even the Brian Wu play. I'm a little higher on this guy in general, maybe than most people. I really think he's going to win a Cy Young at some point. I don't think this is going to be the year, but talk to me in 2 years when he's like the Cy Young winner. All right, so we're sort of spread out a little bit more at pitching. That feels pretty good. Again, going to be late swapping, so some of these things may change. And then in terms of stacks, we're even heavier on the Dodgers now, a little less of the Cubs, more Baltimore, more Yankees, and getting 12% Seattle. There you have it. As of right now, I'm sort of content to stand by this. Now, like I said, I'm going to be late swapping, so things are going to change a little bit, but that's pretty reasonable percentage considering the size of the slate. So there you go, Motown, getting a little Seattle love there. All right, where are we at with stack types? Feels good. I don't mind having a little bit of this madness in the lotteries, because I do think, like I say all the time, I did it yesterday with a smaller slate. I don't love to do it on big slates, but as long as more than 60% of my lineups on these 12 gamers are 5-mans, I'm okay with being different on the other ones. They've hit before, they're unique, and no one else is doing those exact things. So that's why I'm not going to change it much over here. I do think on FanDuel, you really want to be heavy on the 4-mans for at least like 75%, and maybe you could have some 3-3s in there. Maybe 3-2-2 here and there, but I don't think that's what you want to focus on. So this looks pretty good to me right now. Well, look at all that Will Smith. Good hitting. Dodgers an upgrade for hitting weather and against a pitcher I don't trust. So it's just going to always be playing Dodgers. And by the way, I got called a homer last year. It's not a homer. It's just the belief in the team. But I do think maybe 60% is a little exaggerated. Maybe we go 50, and that's where I end up leaving things. That I'm just sort of flirting with ideas right now. So I'm not sure what I'm going to end up on. But I do like them. There's a little wind blowing in. It's 80 degrees, though, 81 degrees in Atlanta. It's good for the righties, not as good for the lefties. It doesn't matter with guys like Ohtani, even Freddie to some extent. But Ohtani hits the ball so hard, it's like I don't care about 8 miles an hour wind against him. Just the other lefties for the Dodgers, namely, Conforto. I guess it really would just be Conforto and Muncy. Might have a little bit more trouble, but both those guys can go oppo anyway. And you do have Andy Pages, who I'm just going to keep reminding everyone is become the best hitter in baseball for the last few weeks. And you just always want to be overweight him on this run. I believe in this guy, and I'm happy he's proven me right. I have a lot of cousins who wanted him done. All right, there we go. Now we're talking about some actually playing. Okay, that makes more sense. Again, less than 50%. Okay, I'm okay with that. Very heavy Baltimore, very heavy Yankees, and then we get to Chicago, San Francisco. It looks pretty good. I'm going to hand build my big buy-ins. I can tell you it's probably going to be some combination of these top 4 teams. Maybe San Francisco will make an appearance. Maybe the A's will make an appearance, but I don't think so. So that's sort of where I'm at right now. All right, another good hit. All right, hit. Love to hear it. Norman Powell, I appreciate it. Thank you. I love that somebody made something off of the Norman Powell thing. Norman Powell and the Westbrook yesterday paid off pretty well for me. Almost paid it all the way off, but they were fire yesterday. That was what you wanted. So I'm going to jump into a quick NBA build. Now I haven't played with things, and I did yesterday. I mean, I was like in Showdown, I had 100% Norman Powell, but I really do have a hard time figuring out where I see this game. So let's take a look first where things go if we don't do much. We'll change things by, I don't know if I want to move anything down. Let's go to the regular. Gui Santos, we'll just make him 2 flat. And we will make Dylan Brooks, who's right there. So let's just see what they give us without doing anything. And yeah, then we'll work from there. But my instinct are that this might be the Steph game. Now, how it's going to happen after I'm watching Amen completely lock him up, I could say the same thing though about Asahar with Jalen Brunson, and it worked out pretty well for Brunson. I feel like I was hoping Curry would be lower owned because of what happened now, and even in the captain spot, you're just not getting low ownership on him. So I think we play it just based on the way it's been rolling. I do think there's going to be something to do with Golden State. I just don't know what that thing is. And I want to know if Kuminga's playing tonight. I'm a little surprised they just didn't announce him out last game. I thought he would at least get like a look in that kind of environment, save at least your guys some minutes. I was a little surprised. So again, without running the Sims, this is where we're at. Let's run the Sims. The Buddy Hield thing is so cheap, it's hard to avoid. But at the same time, we know there's a bust path there, right? We also saw the big Moses Moody game the other day. I'd like to be a little overweight that, maybe even give him a little too much credit. But I think he earned himself some potential time, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if he outscores Buddy Hield tonight. I would be actually not at all, like not even a little bit. I think this number's too high for Buddy Hield as a projection. I think it should be a little lower. So I'm going to make it 19. And I'm going to make Moody, yeah, let's make it 15. Okay, well, let's see where the value leaves us. Yeah, I don't know about the Looney idea tonight. I guess in the flex, it's fine to get a little bit of it. Jalen Green hasn't had the best road games. I kind of was tempted to go back there. I'm curious where the Amen thing ranks in terms of his ownership. So we've got Sabersim's got Şengün, got almost no Aaron Holiday. That's probably not going to come up very much. Dylan Brooks, not getting to a ton of it, but not really that low ownership anywhere. It's just what it is for showdowns. I think Tari Eason, I could talk myself into bumping Tari Eason up a little bit. Let's do that. And let's also see what we're getting in the captain spot. Now, Steven Adams is one of the toughest ones to figure out because they will do the Hack of Adams thing. At the same time, I'm not sure that the Rockets necessarily mind that. This projection feels too high to me. And it is what it is. I just think it's too high of a projection. Şengün showing up as the heaviest from there, but mostly it's going to be Golden State guys. Let's see what the overall, so that's the overall exposure it's giving me for, it's going to be lower on Hield after I rerun these things. And I think Tari Eason has a big, okay, Tari Eason or Jabari Smith. I'm leaning towards Tari Eason. I like both those guys, and I want a little bit of exposure to both of them as captains. Again, it's going to give me more than this, but that's just what I wanted to click in. And I think Quentin Post is somewhat viable for this. I wish there was a way I could play Curry at low ownership today. There's just not. It's just not happening. Amen is the other one who I think has the upside in this type of game, and we know how good he is. We'll give him another little thing. So let's try rebuilding with my tweaks. And again, I might change it before lock. I'm going to be interested to hear. Steve Kerr's interesting. He sticks by his things, but is it so crazy to dust off Kuminga for a few minutes here? Just throwing out an idea. And then let's see what we've got. So let me put this. I think I'm into the Tari Eason, and I like the idea of getting to some Moody. Moody allows you to get to everything else that you would want. All right, so this is where we're at with the Sims. Still loving the Curry. It's frustrating. God, it's so frustrating. I don't want to play this much chalk. Okay, I could talk myself into going a little higher on Amen. Obviously, no one's going to be playing Tari Eason as a captain, so that's an interesting way to get different. I bumped down Steven Adams, still going to get to some. Do I bump him down another one? Yeah, I think I do. I think it's a little aggressive, our projections on Adams, even though love the guy, but maybe a little bit aggressive. Gary Payton, where do we stand with him in terms of the flex? I mean, we should be getting to some, right? Considering the way that we're getting the spend ups. It seems about right. I like the Moody. I mean, Payton's got a better chance to play the minutes in a competitive game, but Moody could end up getting those minutes, and he could get him over Hield too. Hield can get a little aggressive, get a little foulsy. And I thought Moody looked really good. I like Moody's game. I like Kuminga's game. I don't think these guys are as bad as we're all led to believe, for what it's worth. So anyway, that's sort of where I'm at. I'm going to still play around, tweak with it, wait to hear if we get an official word that there's 0 minutes going to because that's going to change a lot of things. Even if he just gets even if you just give him 5 minutes, that's minutes that are coming away from Peyton and Moody. So that's a little bit interesting. Yeah, I don't care, TJ. What does that have to do with anything? What does that even mean? They haven't shown any promise. Like, what are we talking about? I don't even understand what that means. All right, let's see. NBA starting lineup. Let me just see a quick thing real quick. We need more minutes out of Eason, that's for sure. But I know the talent's there, and so if you're going to just say that, so go ahead, TJ, just go ahead and play your chalk guys and whatever. When we say we haven't seen this out of so-and-so and we're using a 5-game sample size from the playoffs, now it is the current playoffs, so I understand it, but that's just, you can't play that way and have any chance of actually winning something. I'm not trying to min cash a tournament that I'm playing Showdown. You're playing, it's it. Is smart to fade Steph? I don't know about fading him. I'll probably end up below the field on Steph. I think that I wanted to be above the field. I wanted all these things. I actually want to drop Jimmy down to a little bit. Maybe Podziemski as a captain. Where did we get him as a captain? He's going to have some love. I do like Pods a little bit. We'll just bump it up a tiny bit. And I'm going to make sure that I don't lose him as a captain entirely. So that's where I'm at, guys. All right. Good luck to everybody tonight. I'm going to finish my baseball stuff and I will update everybody in the Discord. And hopefully we can have a big Friday night. Yeah. Good luck to everybody. And I'll talk to you guys soon.